Hello, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to Ongaku to You, the podcast where three friends come together and break down what's new in the Japanese music industry. I'm your host, Ken, and this is the podcast for the week of October 19th, 2018. And with me, we have Luna.
Hello, everyone.
And that's it. Another Dos Compadre episode here. I'm just going to preference this. It's probably going to be Dos Compadres for a good long while for a bit as we wait for Gray. But yeah, how have you been?
Busy. Very, very busy and very stressed out. Too much is going on this month.
I see. Same, I understand. The new job is getting to me now because now I'm taking on a bit more responsibility, just a little bit more, and they're like, we're going to challenge you today.
Oh, geez. That sounds like a great time.
So, yeah, I think I had like a 70 queue in my queue list, and I was able to do all of it, but it just took me the entire day. While regularly, if it was just simple queue, I would be able to do like close to 120 queues.
Oh, wow.
So,
Yeah, that's... I hate the word queue because sometimes I have to do claims occasionally, and I hate doing claims. I'll just put it that way. And it takes me forever. I don't remember which day it was in this week. I spent the whole day doing that, and I didn't get my actual work done that I needed to get done because I spent doing claims. And it was just like, it was such a busy week, and luckily it was very productive the last couple days, just because I'm like, we didn't have that many claims coming in. So I'm like, I need to get all this done. I need to hurry up. So it's just been so busy and stressful, especially it's October. I'm trying to get stuff for the wedding. I'm trying to book other things. There's just so much going on. So I'm just like, oh, it's too much. Slow down. At least your work keeps you busy. That's the good thing.
yeah, time just flies, though.
That's what I like about it. And people think desk jobs are boring. Yes, they can be. But if you're busy enough, you don't even realize what time it is.
Yeah. I looked up and it was already time to go to lunch, and I was like, "Oh man, I can't even." I got my lunch. I was eating it while I was doing my cues, just so that I don't forget what I was doing.
You sound like me. I do the same thing. I sit there and eat while I'm answering emails. I'm doing something, something at work. The only thing I don't do in lunch is take phone calls, because last time I did, I had food in my mouth and I almost made a mess.
Well, but yeah, what have you been listening to? Let's start with you.
So I got back into Ayumi Hamazaki because we were discussing her last week, especially with, she was really big in the late 90s and 2000s, and I still think she has a good following now. So started pulling out all my albums, and she has a ton. So I started listening to her A Complete Singles collection. I pulled out A Best. I pulled out A Best 2. Then I went back to all her other albums like My Story and Rainbow and I Am and Duty and Love Appears and A Song for XX. And I just went through the IU work. I really did. And I just forgot how much I love her. And I love listening to her A Complete Best, even though it's only from 98 to 08, because it gives you a good comprehensive, listen of her career. So I feel like it's a great set to have. It's like I have a deluxe edition of it with a special box. I think but they all have 3 CDs in it, and it's a great set to have. Even, if you're a fan or you're not, or you want to get into her, just because it's such a good variety. So that's been one of the big things I listened to all week. I was also listening to more Mai Karaki. I got back into her because I was listening to all her older stuff, though. And I was also listening to, I hope I don't say this wrong, Necrotaki and Ink. I've been listening to them a lot, too, since we're going to talk about it later. But they've been on my radar, and I really like them a lot. There were some indie bands we talked about. But a lot of that, and I think that's mainly it. I haven't listened to as much as I planned to. Oh, I listened to Bonnie Pink this week, too. I popped in one of her concerts.
Ooh.
So and I forgot, I love Bonnie Pink. So I bought her Chasing Hope album earlier this year, and it came out a couple years ago, and I finally got it. And it came with a concert. And it had like 8 songs on it. In that concert, she's amazing live. With it, she had a live band. She made all her songs more jazzy, which I loved, and her vocals are fantastic. and her interacting with the crowd, I really want to buy the rest of her concerts now. So I let's just say our contact in Japan might be getting a few if I decide to buy them, because I can't get them shipped. I can't get them shipped here because they're all third-party sellers.
I see.
So I'm really eyeing them right now. There's two of them I really want, but I'm just like, oh, I love Bonnie Pink. She's so good. You can tell I went back for the older stuff. And that's mainly what I've been listening to. What about you, Ken?
I've been listening to. I went back to my '90s mix again, so all the stuff that I've been listening to. But yeah, mostly I got also into back into Enflo recently. I just got Mars Drive and Piece of Me, which is their brand new singles. I really recommend Mars Drive if you guys are able to get it. It is really back to their tripod era, the old tripod era of their works. Piece of Me is a new type of style. It's the intro is kind of weird, but it really works on me for their new type of style, and I can't wait to hear more from them.
I agree with that. And both those videos are on YouTube. So if you guys want to check them out, I highly recommend it as well. Mars Drive is really, really good. It brought me back.
But yeah, besides that, just some Ajikun stuff also over here. I picked up their best second hit, the AKG2. So I really do like Survivor's March, which is the extra song that they put on to that, which is going to be part of their new album, which I really can't wait for. So, but yeah, besides that, we've been doing a lot of the indie stuff, and I'm gonna probably dedicate a huge portion of this episode towards our indie corner stuff. Mostly, we're going to talk about all the indie bands that we've done, or indie groups that we've done in the past 20 or somewhat weeks. We started this back in April, I believe, so a good chunk now. And I figured that we should talk about the past 20 groups that we've done, mostly because you and Gray weren't able to join on this till much, much later. I want to say around when I came back from Japan, so around week 10 or so, around Dark Talkie. I figured that we'll use this episode to mostly talk about indie corner stuff. If time permits, we'll talk about Oricon stuff too, but we're going to go just right down the list here, and we're going to talk about everything from 1 to 20. So first, we're going to talk about Emerald. So, if you guys don't know, they were the first band that we've done, and they are a jazz rock style type of band. They haven't really done much since we introduced them into our indie corner. They did release an album back in December, and that's pretty much all I can recommend. I really do like the vocalist's style, so there's just a couple things that I really do like, but however, I really wish that they update a little bit more. I'm kind of surprised they haven't dropped anything within the last couple of weeks to months now.
I am too, especially since it's been December, but I finally got around to listening to more of their stuff, and I really like the style. It was definitely a change. You know, I like the fusion of the jazz rock. I think it fit really, really well.
Yeah. It is a good style, and it's something that I've noticed with these indie bands. Well, that I've noticed when I've been starting doing this indie corner stuff, is that anything that kind of stands out from the normal that I really wish that could get more mention from, I try to introduce that. And Emerald was that perfect, like, catalyst, so to speak. But yeah, going on to now Casa. Casa was a 3-member band with a female vocalist. They just started, like, I want to say a couple months beforehand when we were doing Indie Corner. And from there, they actually have a new single, or a new EP coming out called, I think, Rainy Days. I think that's what it's called. I think it has like four songs. And they also have a new music video too for it. And I'm kind of surprised about that, because the last time I checked them out, they didn't have nothing. They barely had their site up and running, and they had a lot of SoundCloud stuff there, but nothing like a music video or even news of a release. So I'm fairly happy that they're getting a lot more recognition, so to speak.
And I agree. I finally got a chance to check out Casa, and I absolutely love that. I really love them. I love the vocals, and I'm gonna have to pick up that EP. I'm really looking forward to hearing a lot more from them. They're a band I can see growing very well, and I look forward to growing with them, especially them being new, just like we're a little bit newer as well.
Yeah, I wanna see how that mellow style will work out towards the public because she has a
Hmm.
very very mellow voice or singing voice
Hmm.
anyway. But you can tell that through her singing that she has a lot of passion and a lot of emotion with a couple of her songs that she's done. The song that we put on our site, 22, was a really good song and showed a lot
Hmm.
her vocal range, so to speak. I'm looking forward to see how the public would
React. I
react.
am too.
From that, let's continue on to Babysitter. Babysitter, oh man. So they haven't done much since we talked about them last. Honestly, when we first did them, I thought it was a bust because we always tweet at these artists and we didn't get nothing back from Babysitter. And it was mostly
Hmm.
because they seemed very very mainstream. They seemed to the point that I thought they were gonna go major fairly soon.
Hmm.
That's why they were protecting their image, so to speak. But they haven't done much. I think they have a new single coming out fairly soon. I want to say that. Yeah, I believe they do have a new single coming out, and they'll have 3 songs on it. But they have a very interesting style. They seem very marketable because they are that kind of idol-ish looking band, kind of like
Hmm.
Scandal is.
No, I agree. Like when I first I first watched their videos, and I think I watched 2 of their videos, and that's the first thing I thought is they're easily marketable because of their looks, and their style of music. So I did really like the songs I heard, and I'm very interested where they'll go from here.
Oh yeah, they have everything going for them, honestly,
Hmm.
because they have that look, that sound, that appeal that makes them fairly popular, so to speak,
Hmm.
too. I wouldn't want to say otakus, but that's how these kind of bands, how the industry is going towards. If you're a female vocalist band, for the most part, you're going to hit that route. It's sad to say, but it's mostly becomes that.
Hmm.
But
I've noticed that a lot. By looking at the Oricon, you pretty much get a good idea of the how the bands have progressed. Like groups and bands, with females in it or a female lead vocalist seem to do very, very well.
But yeah, we're gonna continue on that track of female lead vocalist for a while now, with Ink, and I really do like this band. This is the band that I found out that I really do like music, like very very much so, and I wanted to introduce like all these different bands. This was the band that made me do that. This and the next band, but we'll talk about that when we get there. I do like that R&B style very very much
Mm-hmm.
so.
And I really liked Ink, so I finally got a chance to really, really listen to their music, and I was blown away. So they pretty much, I was amazed. I watched all their videos on YouTube. I really looking forward to more from them. I think they're definitely one of those bands that I recommend everyone checking out.
Speaking of their music videos, they just released one. I want to say last month or a month and a half or so. It's called Classic. It's from their Four Tetra EP, which is a free EP. You guys can go to their website and download it for free. So I would recommend that. And I wanted to talk about what did you think of the video filming style because I thought it was top notch for Classic, anyway.
Oh, I thought it was really good. I loved the video for Classic. I thought it was really good filming wise. And I'm kind of wondering, I mean, it looked so professional, especially for being an indie band. I mean, they're doing really good. Their videos I like the look of their videos. I love their sound. So I really loved Classic.
When I went to Japan, like one of the major indie like CDs that I wanted to get was their Ink CD, and Access was a really good song. The lighting for that music video is also really good. That's the one with
Oh, yeah.
the colors. Oh man, I can't say enough praises for this band, and I hope that they find much success in their future career.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, continuing on up is Layla, another female-led rock band here. Their style is really good. It just oozes of indie style.
Mm-hmm.
Their song Emma plays that to a T. Um, Apato no Nakade is really good. Like, I highly recommend anyone to listen to that song. And the music video is really good too. So, what did you think of Layla?
I really liked them. It was very style. I liked her voice too. She reminded me a little bit of the singer Fu, and she had this very unique vocal style and how she sang. And I liked the music that went with it because it reminded me of like a soft rock type of music,
Oh yeah.
which is so. And I really enjoyed that, and I love the video for No Nakade because I thought it was very unique.
Oh yeah.
So I feel like they really stick out because she has a unique vocal style that will make you remember her voice.
Their new song Emma is really good too, so I can't wait to hear more stuff by them. And they've been keeping a fairly good release schedule too. I want to say within every couple months or so they would drop something. And now next up we're going to a complete different spectrum with Sweet Sweet Sweet, which is a more electronica focused band.
Mm-hmm.
And they've actually kind of shaped up a lot since we first went to them. They only had SoundCloud stuff. They still usually only have SoundCloud stuff, but a lot of their stuff is now on Apple Music and Spotify. So if you guys have that, go right ahead and look Sweet 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 up. If you guys like Perfume's like style of electronica music, this is pretty much perfect.
Mm-hmm. That's what they reminded me of when I first heard of them. They have a very Perfume-like style, which is really stuck with me because I do like Perfume a lot. So, and I look forward to hearing a little bit more from them too. I can see them with their style doing fairly well, and I want to see what other releases they'll do in the future.
Yeah, I mean they've released a new song. I want to say a couple months back. They release fairly regularly on SoundCloud, so if you guys are interested in looking at that, go right ahead. Next one is China. Now, they're very interesting because they implement instruments that you wouldn't usually see in a band, like a violinist and an upright bassist. So, that's fairly unique in and of itself. However, they do a lot of solo things, and it's kind of hard to market them if they keep doing these solo projects. And they haven't really done much since we talked about them back in June. So, what did you think about China?
I like them. They had a very unique sound. I didn't know what I would expect, and their video was also very interesting.
Oh yeah, the filming aesthetic that they choose to do, how they
Mm-hmm.
did the instruments was very interesting.
And I really like that how they utilized a lot of those instruments because not a lot of bands do that.
Oh yeah.
You don't see a lot of those instruments in bands anymore. So I really like that aspect of the group. It made it stand out.
Yeah, I mean, when's the last time you heard a violinist in a kind of pop rockish group? Not.
Mm-hmm.
It's very very rare, if at all.
Mm-hmm. A violinist and a celloist, which
Yeah.
is the thing. When I saw the cello, I was like, wow, you really don't see that.
Oh yeah.
So it got me very, very interested.
They have another like side band that they do. It's like the Philharmonic one. I didn't include it in this list, but it's a nice note because they also do like a bunch of different projects. Or the singer does, the lead singer does, a bunch of different projects. So the China Philharmonic implements like a bunch of other instruments like a saxophone and a trumpet and things like that too.
Mm-hmm.
So if you guys are interested in hearing a different fusion of genres, China is really good. However, I would try to hunt for their older stuff because they haven't done much. They haven't done much this past year, I want to say. But yeah, we'll continue on from that to a male vocalist artist, and the She's Gone. So we made a list beforehand for the site that we're going to talk about later on. But me and you particularly, Luna, had different ideas of She's Gone. They're fairly high up on my list.
So I'm super particular with my male singers. I'm not big into male singers.
Ah, yes.
And And I guess that was why. I mean, I thought they were really good, but it wasn't quite my style of music.
I see. I see. Yeah, I
So
just
for
wanted to
me,
pick
yeah,
your
for me
head
it's
for
a
that.
style thing. As you can tell, I go for a lot of the R&B type things and some rock, more female-led vocalists, depending on the style. I mean, I thought they were a great band, and they did have a good style. It just wasn't my type of, not my style in particular. I go with.
I see. I see. Like, cause for me, this band just sounds like a really really indie band. Like
Oh yeah, it definitely does.
like if you were to open the dictionary for indie, this probably would be in one of the definitions there. They, I like the basis of this song. If you hear, I think it's Omoe I think that was the song that we put up. That song, I love that song to death, and it's one of my favorite songs because it gets to the point that I'm hearing it or singing it and humming it at work, and people think I'm crazy because I'm just saying the main chorus of the song, but I really like it. It's a really good band for me personally. But yeah, I just wanted to pick your brain, so to speak, because I wanted to know why you ranked them so low.
I guess for me, I mean, I thought they were a really great band, and it was a super difficult decision. But as much as they're a good band, it's not my style of music. So I guess that's why I ranked them as low as I did.
Yeah.
I'm more of a, like a female vocalist type person. There's some male vocalists, but I like their style, though. I will say I really like the She's Got Style. It just wasn't, I thought it was a good style for what their vocals were and how they fit. It just wasn't a type of style that I always go out of my way to listen to.
Yeah, yeah, and I understand that.
So,
But yeah. Well, let's continue on to arguably our biggest article on our site, which is the Narkraitaki one. Week after week, this particular article always is in the top 5. If it doesn't take the top, it usually is like second or third. So, Narkaitaki, this band, oh my goodness. So originally, I wasn't even going to talk about this band on the site because I thought this band was the most trolliest ass troll band in the world because of the singer and her voice.
mm-hmm.
That's the first thing you notice, right? It's just her voice.
I love it. I love her voice. It's so noticeable and distinct.
Yeah, so she's like a 21-year-old, 22-year-old lady, but she sounds like an 8-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess when you look up what Japanese music and J-pop music is, that I guess majority of people like that because that's the number one video on their site is the Oshare Tai Saksen, which is the music video that we posted. And that has like over 1.5 million views. So
I would say it's a really good song.
yeah, it is. It's a really good song. It's just really funny because originally I wasn't even gonna do an article on them until like their article was right when I went to Japan. So I had to think of something. So they were the first thing that I thought of. They're on the up and up because they just released a new music video and their first full album, which is gonna come out the rest of near December, I believe. We just made an article about it, but
I'm gonna have to get that album. I'm hoping it'll be on iTunes US.
yeah, I'm not too sure. It just depends on what they want because some of the indie bands are on iTunes for some strange reason, but some aren't.
Mm-hmm. I would like a physical copy just because I love having a physical CD, but I know not all indie bands also are able to release a lot of the physical CDs. When they do have a physical one out, I will be purchasing that off the top of a hat.
The EP for their first 3 songs, like 3 major songs that they've done, the entire CD like art style is drawn by the vocalist.
Oh, wow. That's actually really cool. I like that.
So, and the entire site, I believe, is drawn by her also. Like, if you go on her site and you see, like, these hand-drawn, like, drawings of her and what the band and her on a boat, I think, is one of the major things. So, It's all done by her, I believe.
That's really cool and very creative too.
Yeah, so. I mean, I like this band very much so, and when we get to our second part of this debacle, of this talk, we'll talk more about them, because they're a diamond. They're a diamond that is sure to be found.
I agree.
We'll talk more about that later, though. But yeah, next is Tendre, and Tendre, it's an interesting project for him, because he's originally a bassist from another band. And we'll get up on this when we hit Sunny plus Jackie. But this is a solo project for him, and this isn't his real type of genre that he usually does, because he usually just does rock. So it's interesting to see the style that he thinks that is very creative, which is this R&B and really mellow style.
He does. He's definitely interesting. I watched a couple of his videos, and I like the style of his videos too. They're a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So he reminds me. He has a little bit of a jazz feel to him as well.
Oh yeah. So, but he just started too. I think his solo career was about a year ago now. But this is like his style of music. I would think would do very well if it was in a different era, so to speak. If it was in the 90s to mid-aughts, I would think this would do very well. And he is a fairly older gentleman, so I guess that's why his musical inspirations is fairly similar to that of the 90s and the early to mid-aughts. So, but yeah. Continuing on to Ao Harumaki. So this is a very fun and energetic band. I love this band. This is the band that I got introduced while in Japan. I bought one of their CDs just blindly because I was like, this seems like stuff that I could use for Indie Corner. And I ended up really liking this band. Very much so.
And I really like them too. Their sound was very fresh and very upbeat. So they kind of reminded me, I can't even think, there's a combination of a couple Japanese rock bands they reminded me of a little bit. And I think that's why I really like them. I like their vocals, and it fit with the style of music they were doing perfectly.
Oh, yeah.
So, and I could easily see them doing theme songs to like an anime just because of their style.
Yeah, honestly, I kind of don't want them to do that because their kind of style would be instantly grab bag for like Sony, and then that's it for them.
And that, I can kind of see that easily too, just because of their style is very. I don't know. It just fits. I don't know how to describe it. They remind me of a group. They were called Keeloon.
Yeah.
And I really like them. And they kind of remind me of that a little bit. But I think Oh Harumaki had a little bit fresher sound, And since they're so young, I think that also helps too.
Oh, yeah. So, we'll just wait and see. I placed them fairly, like, mid to low on my list, mostly because they're a fairly young band, and I kind of want to see their growth just a little bit more before I can place a number on them, so to speak. So, but I kind of want to see them. If they're most likely, in my mind, as for one of these bands or more popular bands to hit major, but it's mostly because of their style. But we'll talk a little bit more about that later. Continuing next is Stella, which is another big hit on our site, so to speak. And Stella is very interesting too because I do like that mid-90s, late to mid-90s, early aught style that they were trying to go for with their band.
And I want to say, I think that's why I really, really like Stella, is because of the late 90s style of music they did. It really did hit me, and I want to hear so much more from them.
Oh, yeah. Cinderella Girls is a really good song, and I think it's more so because of that keyboard aesthetic that just oozes of 90s style.
I agree, and it just really hit me as I was listening to it. I had to listen to it more than once because I'm like, this song is really, really good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if you guys are interested, their their song is available on iTunes, I believe. So and Apple Music. So if you guys are interested in getting that, go right ahead. But yeah, continuing on, next is Flu, and I still stand by this that I love this band and their style, their style, and what their mission statement is of just short but sweet, impactful songs. I stand by that.
I say I agree with that statement because you remember that band, not only the name but their songs. It's short and sweet and right to the point, and you remember it. Their high energy also makes the band really great.
Oh yeah, definitely, and that's what I love about this band. And Gray did talk about this because we asked him to kind of critique all the bands also. He I was laughing when I saw the comment because he was like, I wish that they had a little bit much more longer songs, which goes against the point of what their band is. So I was kind of laughing about that. Their new album just is about to hit, and it's like I said, it's a 14 track album, but it's only like 32 minutes. It's just sweet and to the point.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I can't wait to hear what they have for the future. If they continue this style or not. If they do continue this style, I really want them to because that's what will make them stand out, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. That's what made them stand out to me is you remember their songs because they got that short and sweet and that high energy that really makes them stick with you.
Yeah, definitely. That's one of the things that I just love about them. But yeah, let's continue on to Sony plus Ginger Jackal. And this is our first collaborative unit group, so to speak, because Ginger Jackal, he's a bassist from a fairly popular punk band, and we'll get more to punk bands in a minute, but he does DJing for this group with Sony's lovely, lovely vocals, which I just love.
Mm-hmm. And I think they make a perfect combination between the DJing and her beautiful vocals. It just matches perfectly.
Yeah, and it's something that I would never think that a bassist would have. It threw me off when I
Mm-hmm.
first heard that. But yeah, I'm looking really much forward to what they have. Both of them, honestly, because Jer Jackal, he's a bassist for another popular punk band that I've talked about on the site beforehand, and I didn't even know that was him up until I was looking at up information. And Sone's a really successful vocalist in her own right, so I just hope that they have a very good career together. But yeah, speaking of punk bands, let's go on to Ditzy Sunfist. What did you think of this band when you first heard of it?
So when I first heard of them, I actually thought they reminded me of Kamiki Aya. And for those of you who don't know who Kamiki Aya is, she is a Japanese singer who did a lot of punk, pop, rock music.
Mm-hmm.
And she had a couple of songs that actually reminded me a little bit of them. And I think that's why I really, really loved Dizzy Sunfist, is they had this really fun punk rock feel to them. And their videos were fun too. So I felt like the music with a combination of them and their personalities just made a really good match. And they actually made a pretty big impact on me, and I guess it's because I miss Kamiki Aya. But I really like them, and they definitely had something there that was unique. And I also like that they used English in their lyrics, and you don't see many artists doing that, like just using full English in their lyrics. And I thought they did a really good job.
It's really weird because it's specifically usually only punk music or punk rock music that deals with all these all English lyrics. So
Mm-hmm.
it's an interesting take. Plus, you don't hear much female punk bands with this type of style.
Yeah, and I think that's why I hearing, like you said, a female punk band like Kamiki Aya was just a solo artist. But as a whole group, you don't see that very often. I mean, you see a lot of male punk bands, and especially a female punk band. I think they did a really good job, and I really want to see them do well.
Oh yeah, definitely. And they have fairly good success within the punk rockers movement of Japan. They're fairly famous. I believe I was reading their latest like in-house tour that they did. It was fairly successful. A lot of people showed up. and all their opening bands were punk bands or punk rock bands or local punk bands, and that's good for the that kind of style of music. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm really hoping that like a label would pick them up. But like I said, we'll talk about that a little bit later.
So, okay.
But yeah, next up is Ellie, and when we first picked her up, she just started like 2 months prior, I want to say. So it was kind of hard to kind of gauge of what me personally what I was gonna
Mm-hmm.
do, where she was gonna go on this list. I put her dead last because she was the freshest out of all the groups that we've done.
And see, for me, I put her a little bit higher, more in the middle, just because I love that song and her voice with it was so good, and that mellow R&B. But for me, I also didn't realize how new she was. So, but that song sold me so much that I just loved it. I'm
Oh
really, really looking forward to see what she'll do next.
yeah, like it's a really good song and it's a good foothold of what her talents is, and I
Mm-hmm.
really, really can't wait to what she does further on into her career. I will need to kind of revisit them back, kind of like Casa also. We'll need to revisit them after a year or so, or maybe the next after when we get to 40, we'll revisit them, so to speak, because it'll be very interesting to see her career and what she's gonna do next. Yeah, next one is Hiromi, and I put her as a 9 on my list, but I already knew what you were gonna rank her because we talked about her 2 weeks straight. So, I personally like the style. R&B is such a huge hit in the Western market, but not so much in the Japan market. So I'm kind of interested to see where Japan's gonna take that.
Well, you already know my opinion on this because I am the one who did the article, but I love her vocals. I love her vocal range. What I will say is, she's very distinctly R&B, and for Japan's really R&B artists don't do that well in Japan, or they're really good in the indie scene. They do amazing in the indie scene, but a lot of them you don't see getting major labels unless they turn their music more poppy.
Mm.
And I mean, you see that a lot, and I love her, and I always love to see more what she'll do. And she doesn't do as much as some of the other bands, I feel like, but she at least releases an album or a mini album about every year. And I was happy to see that last year she came out with her newest mini album last December, and that I thought it was a solid mini album, and I'm really hoping the sales did well enough for her to, get another foothold and get another album going.
Like I said, it's hard to market R&B
Mm-hmm.
mainstream wise, but like the indie stuff. This is why a lot of these bands can do fairly well, like Emerald and things like that, where they do a different style, but it's kind of hard when a label tries to pick them up. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in a bit.
Yeah, I think she has a great fan base too, because you see a lot of her concerts sell out over there. And I tried to get tickets to see her, and I couldn't, and I was super upset. So, but I look forward to seeing what else she's gonna do. Like what I always look forward to her newest album because every time she releases something, she puts so much effort into it, and I love it.
Oh yeah. But yeah, from Hiromi, let's continue on to Boundary. Now, this was a band that was very interesting in my point of view because I'm a little biased, I guess. I kind of know the basis because I do an English teaching thing on the side, and the bassist actually approached me and talked about her band beforehand, and I talked to her about, oh, I do this on the side. And she goes, oh, that's very interesting, and I really like the sound that they promote. The vocalist is really, really good, but I kind of just want to wait and see where the band goes from there.
And I want to say I agree with the sound. I really like their sound, and I love the main vocalist voice. But I'm very interested also to see where they'll go and see what more music they'll produce. So,
But yeah, I mean, let's continue on to Penguin Rush here, and I just love this style. I don't know why, like, doing the indie corner stuff just made me realize that I really do like jazz or funk style of music a lot more, and just the combination that they bring together with this rock style, such a good mix. Such a good mix.
and I agree with that. I regret not putting them higher on my list. Especially after re-listening to their songs, I love the jazz fusion style that they were doing, and I think it works really well.
Oh yeah, I believe it was Rhett was the song that we put on.
Yes, and I re-listened to Rhett, and I'm like, oh, this is really good. And I'm like, man, I should have ranked him a little bit higher because I really love that song. After listening to it, it really sticks with you.
You know, it's funny because me and you we ranked them the same number, I believe. Let's see how Gray ranked them. Really, really liked them. Mostly because he really likes jazz style music. So so he ranked them fairly high. So it's very interesting to see our different styles of music, of what we think is really favorited amongst us. But yeah, continuing on from Penguin Rush, let's go into Jongri. I like her style of music also. Don't get me wrong. Her voice is a really, really good, sultry voice, and I love that. I really do love that. But however, it's kind of hard for her specifically because she did have a label, yeah.
Yeah, she was under Emmy Music Japan, who, if I'm correct, is a sub-label of Sony.
Yeah.
So, and they're a fairly big record label, and from 2006 to 2012, she was under them. And then she left the music industry for a good while, and she recently came back. And as you can see, this was her first digital single in probably since 2014 maybe.
Yeah.
It's been a while, and she does a lot of original songs on YouTube, which she started doing within the last year and a half. So see, it is hard to rank her because she had a major record label and she sold very well. Possession did very, very well. So for her, I mean, yes, she's indie right now, but at one time she wasn't. So she's really hard to put in that mix. And she has an absolutely beautiful voice. And I like that she can change her sound, which she shows in Purple Cloud, because her other music was way more poppy. Well, this has more of a mellow type like a mellow R&B type feel to it. So.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, hopefully you guys like our reintroduction of all these indie bands and indie groups, and that's one of our statements that I wanted to do for this podcast is to introduce all these new different styles of music, and hopefully you guys like it. I know it's probably one of our biggest, most successful thing on the site, so don't steer me wrong from that. Hopefully. But yeah, I mean, let's talk about our next topic here for these indie corner stuff. Which in your mind is most likely to get a major label or be fairly popular with the mainstream style of music or mainstream fan base?
So I did say Hitomi, but so her voice and vocals, she has an amazing range of vocals. She has a beautiful voice, and she is very, very beautiful. And so, I mean, yeah, she has that everything a mainstream person could be. The only thing is her style might be a little too R&B. She might have to do a little more poppy.
Yeah.
So, but I could easily see her going mainstream just because of she already has most of what a lot of people look for in a mainstream artist.
No,
but that was just my choice. Now, I will say that was just how my direct choice, but also I have a little more personal unbiased opinion on that because I have been a huge fan of her since she came out.
Oh no.
And I've followed her career since the beginning.
Don't worry about that because I've also voted for her as the top. Mostly because you're right. She does hit all the checkbox that you would want in a major solo artist. She hits all of that. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I love the bands on here very much so, and we'll get into that in a little bit more on who do we think is next. But Hiromi does hit all those boxes.
Oh.
A very fairly good looking single girl, and that has a unique style and a fairly marketable fashion sense that you can put on. It hits all that
Mhm.
marks. It's just you're fairly right. Japan does not like or just doesn't attune to R&B all too well. So unless she does change her style, like how Nishino Kana did, then
Mhm.
maybe you can go back and forth. Once you get that following, you can do a Kodokumi style.
Exactly. It's like I feel like once you get that following in there, like Kodokumi goes back into so many different styles. So does Ayumi.
Mm.
I could see Hiromi doing that, having some successful pop songs and still throwing in her R&B songs as well. But I also feel like Japan also has a certain type of pop they like, and your example in Nishino Kana was actually spot on.
Oh yeah.
Is you look at how she was and her music style before, and you look at it now, and you can see the drastic change, and how also Japan has taken to that change. So it's kind of and it's also an artist preference. They might really love their style and do it because they love it. So they're not going to conform to that major label, conform to the mainstream. Some of them like being how they are, and I'm not sure how she feels, and I know she's super passionate about all her songs and her music. She writes all her own songs. You can tell she really feels when she sings. So, it's really hard to say what's going to happen, but I look forward to all her releases and to see what she'll do next.
Yeah.
So,
But okay, so besides Hiromi, who did you think would be the next more successful group?
I actually said Ink.
Hmm.
I think they would be fantastic. The lead vocalist has such an amazing voice. I love their style. I really think they do have what it takes.
Oh,
And I can see them going really big. Like, I can see them blowing up.
yeah, that's another group that I put them as number two, I believe, as what I think would most likely get a major label. Yeah, I did. And they have a good sound, a very interesting sound that makes them stand out. A
Mm-hmm.
vocalist that is fairly attractive that you can market with makeup and stuff like that, and has a very good voice. Like if they could bring over whoever does their videography, bring him over too, because those music videos are shot amazingly. I just don't know what it is about.
As well, I mean, I really can see the band being very successful.
Yeah, yeah. There's not enough praises that we could give this band, and but let's continue on from there. From all the other bands that we've done, who do you think is next after Ink that would probably blow up, so to speak?
I say Nick Raitaki.
Oh yeah, Nekartaki is a very interesting case. I'd personally put Babysitter.
My three technically was her. My actually next one was Jungri, but I
Yeah,
ruled her out because she has had a major record label in the past.
yeah.
So I kind of like, well, that's kind of not fair, but I could see her getting another label easily.
Oh yeah,
Once she does more songs, I can easily see that happening just because of her voice, and she's had a career in the mainstream industry before.
oh yeah.
Um,
Definitely, definitely.
but I agree with you on Babysitter. They're actually pretty high up on my list as well because of their sound
Yeah,
and their style.
they have everything going for them. They're four fairly young, fairly attractive girls that do the singing and the band stuff, and they could take over Scandal from
I
that
was thinking
itch,
that.
from that itch. So Scandal. There hasn't been a fairly big competitor against Scandal for a long while now. So if once they if they're marketed right, which it shouldn't be difficult,
Mm-hmm.
they could probably take on Scandal on like who's the bigger like of the girls band, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could easily see them as well because they are very easy. You could market them so easily, and they have the look, they have the vocals, they have the band. And right now, a lot of the girl bands are in. You look at all the ones coming out now, and they people love that. So it's a very good time for them to be coming about.
But yeah, let's go back to Narcurrent Hockey for a bit because they're number 4 on my list here.
Same. We think alike.
we think very alike here. They're number 4 on my major label list here, and they have that sound where they're a diamond in the rough. That they could be the next indie darling that makes it big.
Mm-hmm. I can see that easily because the vocalist has a very unique voice that sticks out.
Oh yeah, definitely. And you know,
So,
they have a very unique way, and I want to see very big success for them because that style, that high energy style that they try to do to match her vocals is very good. It's very good.
yep, I agree. I love their high energy style and the everything fits with them, and I can easily see them just taking off. I'm surprised they haven't yet.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised honestly if their album sells very well, which I'm pretty sure it will. It will because their singles that Tower Records has been pimping the hell out of their single, that EP now
Mm-hmm.
for a while. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're the next one up. I honestly wouldn't. Another one. Uh, who did you put for your next one up here?
I picked Stella. Or wait, no, hold on. That's close. Actually, Sweet Sweets.
Oh, okay.
And I put them next because of their perfume-like sound.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's a really in thing, and I could easily see them being pretty marketable.
That electronica does help, especially with the age that we're in right now.
Yep, that was the thing I thought when I heard them is they're easily marketable with their sound, and I could see them taking off very well.
But yeah, there's a lot of things that they could. It just they need a lot more work. That's the thing with them because they only have 3 people in the band. One actual guitarist, the vocalist, and then the rest of the band is done by a soundboard, which one girl controls. So I think if they add maybe one more member, a solid member, like a drummer, then the electronical thing can take a new, different level, so to speak. But that's just my personal preference.
And I can see that I honestly forgot how new they were. I just thought, their sound is something that I could easily see being a hit, but I think they do need to grow a little bit more too.
Yeah. And, they're trying for that international market. Like, it's very important that these bands try for this international market because all their stuff is on iTunes. You can buy it. You can buy all their singles, all the EPs, Sweet. You can buy Yellow. Yellow is a really good song. I highly recommend Yellow if you guys are able to get it. So, that's just they know the advancement of internationalizing with their market because they know that that kind of music, their genre, will probably be more popular in the West or anywhere else, more so than Japan. I put Stella next on my list to kind of go up there, and the major thing is because of that nostalgic style. We're in an age of where nostalgia hits everything, and I do like the fact that they are going back to that 90s style, and it just kind of works more than how Tindra does it. I don't know why, but it just does for me.
And I can see that.
But we've kind of gone over for a little bit about the indie corner and major stuff, but like I said, we're not really keen of how the market is. I wanna one of the big goals that I want to kind of do for this project is, you know, being able to distribute all their music. That's like one big thing that I kind of want to do. That's one of the goals that I want to have.
It
So
would be
that
something I'd be very interested in going more into learning about the Japanese music industry and just the industry in general
oh
and
yeah,
how they market over there compared to here.
oh yeah, definitely.
I has never like I'm not bad at marketing. I had to take marketing classes, but I've always been interested in how the industries work, and I for school I actually wrote some papers on stuff like that. So it's a very interesting topic, but I feel like to go over there and do that, I'd have to work on my Japanese again. It's been a while. I am getting rusty.
No worries, no worries.
So.
But yeah, let's leave it at that for now. Hopefully you guys like this. We went on a good long amount about indie stuff. It's one of our most popular things on our site, so hopefully that you guys really did like this. Okay, with that, let's go on to the Oricon now. First and foremost, we'll talk about that with the news later on, but number 10, it is Idolmaster Cinderella Girls Little Stars Sayonara Aloha. I guess it's Hawaii themed.
It looks to be. I actually like the song.
Mm.
I like the Idolmaster song again. I thought it was fairly decent.
Yeah, it's all right. I mean, this is from the Little Sisters, so it's the sisters of the Idolmaster groups. Little Sisters. It's grooming them, so to speak, to be the next stars, I guess. But yeah, it was all right. It's good for an Idolmaster song. That's all we can ask. And it sold a lovely 9,276 copies. And going on up once again, it is Kimi Boku by Kiss My Feet 2. There's not much what we can say from last week's conversation. I'm fairly surprised that it held on for so long, though. So, there's that. But yeah, it sold a wonderful 11,470 copies. And continuing on up, it is number 8. It is Max Avenue by Chu O'Dolly. Oh boy, this band was something.
I didn't care for this. That's all I'll say. I tried. It just wasn't my thing. I felt like it was very. How do you say it? Like.
It's by the
10
books.
years ago?
Oh yeah, it's by the books.
Yeah.
By the books idol, and it's not. It's sad because, like I said, it's hard to advertise these kind of groups because they need to stand out from other groups. Otherwise, it's just gonna sound the same. There's nothing. There's nothing that's gonna make them stand out if they continue this way.
And that's how I felt about it. I just felt like it was your average idol group. You know, nothing unique, unfortunately. So, and it was a little too hyper for me.
Oh yeah, they needed to take a little peg down, just a little bit. But yeah, it sold a wonderful 12,409 copies. Continuing on up, it is Gifts by Superfly. I really like this single. It was really good, actually.
I second that. I really liked her vocals with the song. I thought it was very beautiful. And she had that she's that powerful voice that just goes very well with what she did. And I actually watched the really long video. I really enjoyed it. So
yeah, it feels like it's Misa, I believe that's Misia is how you say it. The song Everything, it seems like this is her version of what Everything is, because it's a very powerful ballad.
And that's what it reminded me of as well, as when I heard this song. I'm like, it really reminds me of something. And then when you said Everything, I thought, oh my gosh, that's because it has that powerful voice in it, the powerful lyrics that really capture you. So I agree with that 100%. And it's a beautiful song.
Can't give it much praises. This would be my number 2 song, but it sold a wonderful 14,127 copies. And going on up, it is Memoria and Yoru, Time for the Moon Night, that English there, by G Friends, and it's not even English because they're Korean.
Yep. So this is their first single.
Hmm.
I was a little disappointed just because it didn't stand out to me, and I've never heard G Friend before, and I do follow a lot of the K-pop stuff. I've seen their name around. I just never checked them out. I do like their vocals, but then again, the main singer sounded a little bit like Boa to me, so that's probably why. Or
And
Taeyoon.
it's interesting because this goes on back to the talk that we had last week, where not the Korean boy or Korean groups that are fairly popular, they do a lot of those dance. They're fairly dance centric, but this, if you watch the music video for Memoria, it's a fairly mellow music video,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I mean it was all right. It's just didn't stand out to me like you were talking about.
Yeah, and I feel like that was the issue with me is I've had mellow songs that stand out, but this one just felt kind of like your generic mellow K-pop song to me. Or not really K-pop, but J-pop. It wasn't anything that really stuck out. I actually thought Time for the Moon Night, I liked that better than Memoria.
Oh
And I
yeah,
think I liked the video a lot for Time for the Moon Night because their dancing was very, very well done. So they made a somewhat like not super upbeat song. It wasn't like upbeat, but they added this dancing to it that didn't really fit with the song, but I liked their dancing in it, and I liked the song a tad bit better.
yeah, but yeah, I mean it's surprising too because this single was fairly cheap. Well, it's only 2 songs, granted. It's only like $12, I want to say.
That's not bad for a single, especially if it comes with the videos.
Yeah, but yeah, going on up to number 5, it is Sekiyoru ni Onegai Moonlight by Hokako Princesses. So this was very interesting.
It was, and actually, this is the one I liked. The other one was the one I didn't like. I kept getting this confused with the other idol one we had. This, I liked it, but it reminded me of like Morning Musume back in the day.
Oh yeah,
And I think that's why I liked it.
and it's interesting because they went from very slow, somber melody to like fairly high paced
And
dancing.
it's, yeah, that's the only part of the song I didn't like. I liked that it was very, like older idol type thing.
Oh yeah,
But the pacing of the song was where it kind of is like, that turns me off a little because I kept thinking I'm going to listen to a different song.
oh yeah, it just throws you off very much. Yeah, though I know how they kind of got on the Oricon though, because this they're doing the idol thing where because they're only like a 6 member group, 5 6 member group,
Uh-huh.
and they're selling like individual copies of the singles of the members.
Ooh, yeah. If you're a collector, you're going to buy all 6 of those, and that's going to add up.
Yeah, but yeah, it sold a wonderful 19,013 copies. Going on up to number 4, it is Scandal by You Kiss.
So I'll start with this because You Kiss, I either really like the song, or it's a very it doesn't fit. So this fell into the category of this doesn't quite fit their vocals in my opinion. So the music and their vocals just to me do not match, and it doesn't seem like the style they usually do. So this song has more of a jazzy feel to it, like a jazzy pop feel. And the U-Kiss that I remember listening to, because they're a K-pop group, and they're actually one of the first K-pop groups or boy groups I heard back in the day. And this is probably an '08, maybe it was '08, '09. And I really like their R&B hip hop type style. So this song didn't really catch me, but I did love their dancing. Their dancing was really good, and their coordination for the video was amazing. So I love the video. I couldn't look away, but I didn't care for the song as much.
I see. Yeah, like I felt fairly similar. Like it was alright. I wouldn't say it's the bee's knees, so to speak. But it
Mm-hmm.
was, it was just alright. But yeah, I mean, Japan kind of always disagrees with us here. And it sold fairly well, with 19,783 copies. It, of course, it doesn't beat number 3 here, which is, once again, Nogizaka 46 with Jiko Cho de Iko. This is the first week we haven't had Kiyakizaka for like over a month and a half to 2 months now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of surprised about that.
Me too.
But yeah, nothing more we can say about it. We've been kind of going through the old song and rhyme now. Up until the next single comes out, I think it's gonna stay the same. Which reminds me, the music video came out for the next single. So, it'll be interesting to see.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this week it sold a wonderful 20,327 copies. And going on up to number 2, it is Reach for the Stars by 9 Stars. So this is the Kyushu idol group. I think we've talked about them before,
We
haven't we?
have. We did talk about them before. I will say I love this song. This is probably my number 2 or 3. It's a tie between this and Superfly.
Oh yeah.
So I really loved this song. Like the first moment I heard it, I'm like, oh my god, I love this. And it's not just because of the video. Um, and if you watch the video, you'll know why. But I really liked the energy in the song. I liked the music to it. I liked their vocals. I thought it was really, really good.
Yeah, this song was amazing. It was really good. I was quite surprised because the last song that they did wasn't. It didn't stand up this much compared.
Mm-mm.
So I'm quite happy for them. Granted, if they went up during a different week, maybe they would have got a little bit more fame, sales
Mm-hmm.
wise. It was just hard because of everything. But Universal must be happy. Took one
Mm-hmm.
and two to this week.
Oh yeah, they got both of theirs in the top 2.
But yeah, it sold a wonderful 23,382 copies. And going on up, it is number 1, Memorial by King and Prince. Oh my god, this song is so good.
Uh, it's amazing. This is my number 1 for this week. I agree with Japan 100%. So I watched all the live performances of this that were on YouTube. I loved it. I loved every moment of this song.
How did they perform the songs? I never did get around to watching the live performances.
Uh, I think they performed it very, very well. They had their energy there. Their dancing was really good and very in sync. So I can't remember which ones I watched because I didn't pay attention to which TV shows they were on. But there was maybe 3 or 4 performances on YouTube, and one of them they performed the full song. The other ones they did their usual like 2 minutes 30 seconds type of thing.
I see, I see. But yeah, this song is phenomenal. I with the with the sales for this, they break a record, like a record that hasn't been achieved in like 2 years, and we talked about this for news. With the announcement that they reached over 400,000 for this sales record, they're the second group, or the first group, in over 12 years to have 2 debuting singles consecutive over 400,000 sales.
Wow, that's a really amazing record to break.
And the only group to have done so before them is Katoon, their older brother group from Johnny's.
Wow.
And they're the second group overall to have done this. Because beforehand,
That that's phenomenal. I mean, and they deserve it because they've hit it out of the ballpark with their first 2 singles, in my opinion.
oh yeah, Cinderella Girls is such an amazing song. Memorial also. I
Mm-hmm.
love it, love it, love it. And I can't wait for more. If their third single reaches over 400,000, I think they'll be the first debuting group in history to reach 3 consecutive. Whoever is doing the lyrics for their songs, it's good on them, man.
Yep, I agree.
But yeah, with that, I want to thank you guys very much for joining us on this episode of Ongaku to You. We went a little bit long, mostly because of our Oricon squeeze there at the end, but I wanted to really talk about the Indie Corner stuff. This episode is going to be led by Indie Corner songs, so I believe it's going to be Ink. I'm like more 100% certain it's going to be Ink that's going to do the opening for the song, so please look forward to that. And if you like that kind of style, go pick up their free single. Go pick it up, Terra EP. It's really good. But yeah, I want to thank you guys very much. You can follow us on Ongaku to You for Twitter and Instagram. You can follow the site at ongakutoyou.com, where we always try to put up a lot of Indie Corner stuff once every week. I think we only missed like 3 or 4 weeks, but that was just because of timing on my end. But yeah, follow the site at ongakutoyou.com. You can follow my personal channel, OTYCan1 on Twitter. You can follow our affiliates. Koryu Hunter, he is a Japanese Twitch streamer. You can follow him at twitch.tv/Kyoryu Hunter, KYORYUHUNTER, and Timber Taff. He's another Twitch streamer who also does a lot of music works on his own end. You can follow at twitch.tv/TimberTaft, TIMBERTAFT, and they also join me on Potosaurus, which is a full-on gaming podcast. If you want to hear me talk about games and the games media, go follow me on there. And for the people that are following me from his side, hello. Hopefully you guys did not get bored with all the indie talk that we talked about. But yeah, I want to thank you guys very much for listening to this week's episode of Ongaku to You. I'm your host, Ken, signing off and saying thank you very much and have a great day. Mahalos.
This is Luna. And I want to thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I will see you next time. Ja mata ne.